WYMT Mountain News first at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, Kentucky lawmakers will be finishing the General Assembly session later this week. Today, Governor Beshear says he has acted on every piece of legislation sent to him, including the budget. He praised parts of it and said other parts did not go far enough. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more from the state capitol.
The governor says there is a lot to like in this budget. He says it funds hundreds of millions of dollars in new water and sewer projects. It'll provide broadband to places that don't have it or that are underserved. And also, he says it'll fund lots of transportation projects. One of the transportation projects is a match for a companion bridge to the Brent Spence in northern Kentucky, along with extending the Mountain Parkway. The governor says with his signature, state workers will get an 8% raise and state troopers will earn $15,000 more a year. There's more money for career and technical education centers. He says after enduring $250 million in cuts, higher education is getting $80 million more per year. But Beshear says the budget falls short in education, with $680 million less in classroom spending than what he proposed. He does not agree with universal preschool not being funded and the General Assembly not mandating teacher pay raises, as well as more money for school staff.
When we look at the amount I was increasing SEEK by, almost $2 billion, every superintendent I talked to said, with that amount of money, yes, go ahead and mandate the raises. We can easily do that. But now, it doesn't guarantee.
The governor is using his power to line item veto, including a pay raise for lawmakers and even himself and other constitutional officers. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
The legislature will meet Wednesday and Thursday of this week and will likely, with their supermajority, work to override vetoes. Now to some breaking news out of Laurel County, where a deadly crash was reported earlier this afternoon. Not a lot is known, but we can tell you the crash happened on East 80, and at last we checked, the road is still closed. It is just past the Laurel Road intersection, Little Laurel Road intersection. Now, you should find a different route if you're in that area. Of course, no names or other information has been released. We'll update you with the latest as we get it on WYMT.com. Virginia State Police are investigating an apparent murder-suicide that involved 3 people in Norton, Virginia yesterday. Police were called to a home where they found the bodies of 2 women and a man before finding a gun. The 2 women were identified as 53-year-old Vivian A. Wampler and 81-year-old Elizabeth A. Sturgill. The man was identified as 53-year-old Brian C. Wampler. Police believe Brian shot and killed his wife Vivian and his mother-in-law before shooting himself. Williamsburg police, along with several search and rescue members, successfully found 2 men missing in Whitley County. Mark A. Fusen and Ronnie L. Fusen were reported missing by family members when they did not hear from them for more than 2 days. During their search, police were able to find Ronnie safe at a house along Highway 92 East. Later in the evening, the team was able to find Mark along a cliff line using a drone. Then he was rescued safely. Today, Governor Andy Beshear visited Laurel County to announce improvements to water and sewer infrastructure in the area. Nearly $3 million will go towards 8 major infrastructure projects in Laurel and Clay counties, largely aimed at improving the quality of drinking water in those areas. The governor says his cleaner water program is especially important for rural counties where clean water is more difficult to provide.
Well, this investment says to Eastern Kentuckians, we care about you and you count. We are on the precipice of an era of prosperity with the number of jobs coming in, and my commitment is Eastern Kentucky is going to be a big part of it, not left out.
Governor Beshear also announced today another $250 million in further funding for the Cleaner Water Program. The governor also spent part of his afternoon at the opening of a new business in London. We'll have more on that coming up tonight at 6. Shaping Our Appalachian Region, also known as SOAR, has announced dates and the city for its next mini summit. The Focus Summit is coming to Hazard on June 23rd and 24th at Hazard Community and Technical College. People will come together to discuss innovation and entrepreneurship Executive Director Colby Hall says Hazard is the perfect city to host this mini summit because dozens of new businesses have opened up in downtown Hazard since 2019.
We recognize that entrepreneurship and this idea that Eastern Kentuckians who are as smart and as capable as any group of people across the country, that they have those types of ideas that can lead to new business.
Hall says they expect anywhere from 200 to 300 people to register for this Focus Summit in Hazard. We'll have more on the other upcoming events at 5:30. A partnership in Pikeville is planting something new to grow something familiar. Students from Pikeville High School joined a crew from the city of Pikeville today at Bob Amos Park to plant some North American native trees along part of the trail, the beginning of an effort to control the growth of invasive species of trees along the trail and park area. Officials say it is all one big community partnership.
I seen that the Pike County Conservation District was going to be giving out free bare root seedlings, so we partnered with them, City of Pikeville did, and they gave us up to 70 trees of differing species, and I just thought it would be a great opportunity to get the community together.
The students were able to tie the planning process into some of the lessons they have been learning in their biology classes. We'll have more about that hands-on project coming up at 6.
It's not been an uncomfortable day around the mountains today, but we're noticing out to the west an increase in showers and thunderstorms. And we'll see a few more of those as we head into the overnight. HiNAB camera UVA wise. Right now, it's all quiet but overcast at the moment. Low 60s in Southwest Virginia at the moment. The overcast skies hang low over Hazard right now. A look out front here from WIMT showing that low overcast sticking with us. Now, some of us have gotten quite warm, upper 60s, low 70s around the area. Others, where we're starting to see some showers work in, we're into those low to middle 60s at the moment. Look at Moorhead checking in at 57, starting to see the beginning of those showers pushing closer to the area. Not a lot of heavy rain right now, but this is just the first of several waves of showers and thunderstorms that will be with us through the first 2 or 3 days of the work week, and some of those could include strong to severe storms later this week. For tonight, though, scattered showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder roaming around the region. It'll be a breezy winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour gusting at times up to 15. We're in the low 50s overnight tonight. Now, I will have the very latest on when we could see those strong to severe storms in the forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. Federal and local officials are monitoring what they are characterizing as an uptick in COVID-19 infections in some parts of the country, but they say the rise is no cause for alarm. CBS's Elise Preston has the latest from New York.
Coronavirus infections, mostly driven by the BA.2 subvariant, are rising, especially in the Northeast. In Philadelphia, where cases have increased by more than 50% in the previous 10 days, officials have reinstated an indoor mask mandate for public spaces.
By wearing masks consistently, we can continue to go about our daily lives and continue to take part in the life of our city without contributing to increasing transmission of COVID-19.
The spikes are being watched closely, but so far, hospitalizations remain low, the lowest at any point during the pandemic.
I do believe we're going to see cases go up and down. Obviously, if it gets substantially worse, we're going to want to look at issues like masking. But at this moment, these numbers are still quite low.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams has canceled his in-person events this week after testing positive for COVID. He says he has mild symptoms and plans to work from home.
Helene Lakoff says she has learned to live with the constant risk.
If I get it, I get it. It's learning how to manage within. COVID is here to stay, and it's how to manage within it, how to live your life.
In Washington, D.C., Congress has yet to approve new funding for the continued fight against the virus. The latest White House request is for $22.5 billion, while the Senate settled on a $10 billion compromise that has since been derailed.
So the question is, what do we need this money for? We need it for vaccines. We need to make sure that we have plenty of testing available.
If it is passed, the deal would be paid by repurposing unspent funds from the $1.9 trillion coronavirus relief package enacted in March of 2021. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
The mask mandate in Philadelphia takes effect on April 18th. On the Columbia University campus in New York City, Masks are now required in classrooms. As the strict COVID lockdown in China drags on, anger is boiling over onto the streets. While countries around the world are lifting pandemic restrictions, China is sticking to its zero COVID strategy of tackling outbreaks with mandatory isolation and mass testing. Shanghai has enforced some of the most rigid rules since the virus emerged in Wuhan in 2019. 25 million residents have been forced to stay put, not even allowed to walk their dogs. The only canines permitted on city streets are robots, broadcasting tips on how to avoid infection. The legal battle between Johnny Depp and his ex-wife Amber Heard started today in Virginia. The 58-year-old actor is suing Heard for $50 million in connection to the 2018 Washington Post op-ed she wrote about surviving domestic violence. Although Heard never directly mentioned Depp in that article, she did accuse him of abuse when she sought a restraining order against him when they broke up in 2016. Depp is suing Heard herself, not a media company, and that changes the requirements and obligations for Heard, this time in court. Depp and Heard met in 2011, married in 2015, and split the following year. Does your baby have what it takes to be the 2022 Gerber baby? Parents can now submit photos of their smiling infants in the 2022 photo search. The winner will earn the title of spokesbaby and chief growing officer. He or she will be featured on the baby food company's social media channels and in its ad campaigns throughout the year. They will also get a $25,000 prize. For the first time this year, Gerber will match the prize with a $25,000 donation to the March of Dimes maternal and infant health programs. Gerber says an irresistible giggle is strongly preferred, in addition to an undeniable, lovable personality. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Monday afternoon. The Dow closes down today more than 413 points. So a little rough start to the week on Wall Street. We'll have more financial news coming up in our next half hour. But straight ahead here on First at 4, the benefits of starting school later in the morning for parents. We'll have the latest research next.
And after a chilly and wintry weekend, we're rushing headlong back into spring with storm chances this week. Got the full breakdown next.